We can all imagine what it must be like to go and live somewhere else where everything is very different, and to go there not really through your choice but because circumstances have forced you out of your home, whether it's because of war or poverty or persecution. You might have to travel halfway around the world, but when you get there, here's a resource that tells you that you're welcome, that you're wanted, that this is your new home, and hopefully helps you make a bit of sense of your new surroundings. The welcome packs actually originated from an AGM motion, and that motion started off with Charlotte Ahmed and the members at Knightswood Secondary in Glasgow. And Knightswood Secondary, along with Drumchapel High School, had been schools that were working in the communities where dawn raids were taking place, with asylum seeker families ripped out of their homes and their beds in the very early hours of the morning.
When we first had children who were seeking refuge in our school, there was nothing like this. There were no resources that we could access, and we knew it was frightening for them, but we also knew it was frightening for the class teachers, because we don't want to get things culturally wrong, we don't want to mispronounce names, we need to understand where children have come from and what they've been through.
The idea was to come up with a resource that would help children and young people who were new to Scotland to understand what it was like as a country, what it might be like to go to school in Scotland, and just to help them feel that they were welcomed and that they were wanted and that this was their new home.
So the first year that we sent out the packs to the local authorities, there was about 3,500, nearer to 4,000 that we sent out. A lot of boxes, a lot of packaging. We actually had at one point down the stairs a convoy of people loading into the van for all of the boxes that were going out that we distributed.
The welcome packs produced by the EIS represent a very effective and strong partnership between the EIS and local authorities. As a trade union and as local authorities, we are both focused on what's best for our children and young people, and in this case it's what's best for a group of children and young people who may be vulnerable because they don't have English as their first language.
It's nice having that kind of relationship with different people, hearing the good stories about, like the kids have enjoyed them. It's good to get that kind of feedback, and it's nice to think that people are appreciating that.
The idea with the pack was that it would provide one of the first things that our members, that teachers working in schools, could use with a child who was new to English, for example, and that could form some of that initial relationship building between the child and their teachers, and it could be something that they could work on together.
It's lovely to be able to give newly arrived families a gift during our enrolment meetings. So each member of the team will collect packs for new families and present them at the meeting. And it's lovely to see the children opening them in an excited way. They love picking up the pens and pencils, and quite often the children will start using them during the long meeting when we're giving parents a lot of information. And we often take extra packs just for younger siblings because we know that they like to have their own pens and things too. The packs have topics such as clothes, food, Scottish weather, and it's a great conversation starter. There's a lovely, lovely class I was in recently, and I walked into the room and they were sitting together, and they were just sharing. One child was Polish, but has grown up here, and they were reading out the words, and the Arabic speaking child was reading their words. It was just lovely seeing them working together.
Some of our most recent developments of the packs, for example, have been putting in audio translations, and that again was a suggestion from members on the Equality Committee. When the recent crisis began, in the most recent crisis in Afghanistan, we had translations into Pashto and Dari, and we now have requests to look at translations into Ukrainian, for example, as a result of the invasion of Ukraine. So it is a constantly evolving resource, a constantly evolving work stream.
I think just like other families, our new families from Ukraine have been so overwhelmed by the fact that these have already been translated for them.
And now the idea that this exists to help the fear around what happens when people seek refuge, and also differences in education systems encouraging us to be more culturally responsive, and actually the children are represented, they can see themselves in the literature, and that's a wonderful thing.
And even this first page with getting the child to write their name, where they come from, and let them know that we value the fact that they speak other languages.
I'm a very proud member of the EIS, and I think it's important that our union embraces everything that will affect its members, and children, their circumstances and their families will directly affect its members. And I want to belong to a union that's equitable and strives for equity for all.
We in Scotland value newly arrived people wherever they've come from, and I think families appreciate that.
It just shows the strength of trade unions in terms of being able to stand up for and to support not just their members but the communities in which trade unions work, and it is something that we're very, very proud of in the EIS.